Everybody to Dushanbe. This is IBA.PRO 6 and this is a really interesting fight for the IBA Europe welterweight title between Maxim Chernichuk, who's making his way to the ring now, and Michael King. These two met in February over 8 rounds, and it was Chernichuk who won that one by split decision. Tonight though, they rematch for that IBA.PRO title that King won against Vakid Abasov last November. I was ringside for that fight. It was an absolutely terrific performance. His pro record, Chernichuk, 8 wins and 1 draw. That draw coming in February last year against a 16-0 Sergey Lubkovic.
IBA.PRO. Встречайте. And now, reigning and defending IBA.PRO European welterweight champion from Luxembourg, Michael King.
Don't be too curly, only.
It's a great boxing story. Michael King from Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo. He came over to the UK actually in 2014 to join his family who'd already moved over. Set himself up in Tottenham, started boxing in 2017 and gathered a pretty good record after a couple of defeats early on, both in the away corner. He then met Al Siesta, who's in the ring there tonight, CEO of IBA.PRO, started managing him, got in some fights on some good cards. I saw him box in September 2023, a really good win against Kai Jimenez, followed that up with another good victory against Reese Woods, and then, as can happen in boxing, out of nowhere almost, his last 3 fights have come in Russia. There was the win in Samara against Abasov. He was in the away corner that night. It was a really good performance. A few weeks after that, he was in Ekaterinburg, where he drew over 8 rounds against Bobo Usman Baturov, who was a top amateur. Then in February, that first fight against Chernichuk. So a young man from the Democratic Republic of Congo, who then moved to London, who's now based in Luxembourg, seems to have found a real boxing home for himself in Russia and now Tajikistan, and I think with IBA.PRO as well. So it's just such a good story, and this scheduled for 10 rounds, and that's the mascot he always makes his way to the ring with, that little monkey just wrapped around his neck, and it's a slow walk, taking his time. And the build-up between these two has been interesting this week as well. Pretty playful most of the time, but he does have this ability, King. I've seen it when I've seen him box in the UK, particularly in that fight back in 2023 against Jimenez. He has the ability to wind opponents up. I don't quite know what to make of him. Just Pritchard there in the corner, part of Shane McGuigan's gym in East London, who trains the likes of Lee Cutler, lead trainer for Lee Cutler.
Introducing to you the officials of the title fight. Президент Международной ассоциации бокса IBA, President of the International Boxing Association, Mr. Umar Kremlев. Promoter, Генеральный директор IBA.PRO. Promoter, CEO of IBA.PRO, Al Siesta. Supervisor IBA.PRO. Supervisor for the IBA.PRO, Maxim Chernichuk, Moldova. Боковые судьи, ringside judges, Мансур Мухиддинов, Таджикистан, Баграт Аваян, Армения, Алишер Алтаев, Казахстан. Хронометрист, таймкипер, Ниязидин Мирбабаев, врач у ринга Юнус Шарипов. Рефери титульного поединка, referee of the title bout, Валерий Пастухов, Молдова. И сейчас я представляю вам соперников. В черном углу ринга претендент на титул из России. Боксеру 23 года, его рост 180 сантиметров, вес 66,5 килограммов. В его активе 9 боев, 8 побед, одна из которых была одержана над сегодняшним соперником. И одна, добытая в тяжелом бою, ничья. Он прибыл из Москвы и намерен подтвердить свой предыдущий результат их личной встречи. А пояс чемпиона Европы станет для него первым титулом. In the black corner of the ring, the title challenger from Russia, a 23-year-old warrior standing 180 centimeters tall, weighing in at 66.5 kg. His records speak volumes: 9 fights, 8 victories, including 1 over tonight's opponent and 1 hard-fought draw. Hailing from Moscow, he's here to repeat his previous triumph in their personal rivalry. And the European Championship belt will be perfect addition to his legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, Maxim Chernichuk. Ровно по диагонали в золотом углу ринга действующий чемпион из Люксембурга. Ему 27 лет. Его рост 176 сантиметров, вес 66 килограммов 700 граммов. В его активе 10 непростых поединков, 6 побед, 4 из которых он одержал досрочно, 3 поражения и 1 ничья. Сегодня он намерен лично исправить результат предыдущей встречи. А пояс своим он считает по праву. Ladies and gentlemen, in the golden corner, standing proud and undefeated and in spirit, the reigning champion from Luxembourg. At 27 years old, he stands 176 centimeters tall, weighing in at sharp 66.7 kg. His battle-tested records: 10 fights, 6 victories, 4 of them by way of knockout, 3 defeats and a single draw. Tonight, he steps into the ring with a fire in his eyes, determined to rewrite the ending of their last encounter. The belt, he owns it. It is his by right. And surrender, that word doesn't even in his vocabulary. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael King. И с ударом гонга рефери титульного боя, referee in charge of the title bout, Валерий Пастухов, Moldova.
So here we go, this scheduled for 10 rounds or fewer for that IBA.PRO Europe welterweight title on the line. And as Sergey was saying there in the announcements, and as I was saying, this is a rematch. These two met in February. It was a split decision win over 8 rounds for Chernichuk on that occasion. But Michael King gets his opportunity here to rematch him. And he is in the home corner this time because he won that title last November on a night of upsets, actually. It was a really, really good night. He scored the win against Vakid Abbasov in Samara, but it was one of those nights where the right-hand side of the card really put in big performances. It was a well-matched card and thoroughly enjoyable. So, King in the white, Chernichuk in the black. And the judging was good that night too, because there were some close fights, some which you wouldn't necessarily expect the away corner fighter to get. It's bad that we talk about things in those terms in boxing, but it's just the reality, and everybody got full value for their performances. Getting nice and low there, Chernichuk. King just trying to use that lead hand. Good jab there from Chernichuk though. Right hand there from King, just over the top slightly, then goes down to the body. And again there, he's looking to work that body with the right hand so far, just coming out of the crouch there. Chernichuk lands the jab midway through round 1, and this has got going pretty quickly. The advice from the corner there for King is, I think, just to try and get those elbows up of Chernichuk's by going up to the head and then sink them into the body. I think maybe they feel that there is damage to be done there into the final minute of round one. Just looking to feint with that front foot there a couple of times, Chernichuk. He's not really getting any kind of a bite out of King, who carries that lead hand quite low, just looking to try and flick it up from the waist. Final few seconds of round one. There's that right to the body that he's landed a good few times in that opening round. You could hear the corner call for it as well. Maybe that's something they identified after that first fight. Getting nice and low there, King, so you can see he can not explode upwards exactly, but just get good power on it.
Round two.
Chernichuk's come out a bit busier at the start of the second round. Just trying to really lance with that jab, but again King just steps in and finds that right hand to the body. There is space in around the back of that left elbow. He's finding it regularly. At what point will Chernichuk really start to feel those? And again there he lands it. Looking for the uppercut there, King. Didn't quite land it. Chernichuk just leaning on. There's that right hand to the body again. He lands it every single time he throws it. Doubling up on the left hook there. Chernichuk, the referee, just having a quick word with King. I'm not quite sure what about. Chernichuk just trying to create a little bit of space for himself. Looking for that big overhand right, but doesn't land it. Chernichuk trying to work the body with the left hand. It's the final minute of round two. Right hand lead there from King. I'm not sure how clean that landed. Both of these two have done plenty of work in this second round, just chopping down with the right hand there, King. I think the referee might have given the instruction to break, and as a quick conversation anyway. Right hand there from King got through. They're both working hard here. Not a lot particularly solid or clean has got through in the round. Left hand into the body there from Chernichuk. Those right hands into the body towards the start of the round were landing from King.
10 seconds. Seconds out.
And there's a replay show, plenty thrown by both of them in that second round, as they both just picked up the pace a little bit. Chernichuk initiated that at the start of the round, you would say, but King absolutely went with him. They are well matched, these two. Good looking jab there from Chernichuk at the start of the round. He's got that high guard, just peeks out in between those two gloves, so he can see what's coming. That high guard sometimes can block a fighter's view. They can't really see what's coming in. He doesn't have too much peripheral vision with the guard set that way, but he can look down the middle of it. Clubbing right on the inside. There's that right to the body again there from King, but Chernichuk just beginning to put them together a little bit better now. Chopping down with that right. And then goes down to the body with the left, and then again with the right. This is physically a demanding fight if it continues like this. Right hand into the body again there from King. He has to keep the faith with that shot. When he throws it, he lands it. He has to believe that it will pay off the deeper we go into this. Landing the right hand there, King. That's good use of the left there again, though, from Chernichuk. But King just looking to get through with that right hand again, and then pushes Chernichuk back, and I think feels like he got through with a couple there at least, because he's letting his hands go a little bit, but Chernichuk is doing exactly the same thing, heading into the final minutes of round 3. Just short with the uppercut there, Chernichuk. And then that scything right hand, arcing over the top slightly, got through. King, though, doesn't seem too worried about Chernichuk's power. You could say maybe not quite the same the other way around. Just that passage we had about 30-40 seconds ago. I think maybe a couple of shots there from King did just cause Chernichuk to back up a little bit. Nice left hand on the inside there from King. And the highlights we're seeing here are mainly concentrating on the contribution to the round that Chernichuk made there, and he was nice and busy. But this is a close fight. This is a close fight. As was their first, as we head into round 4 here. There's that left to the body, and Chernichuk, as he moves in behind that jab, will look to throw that. He really gets good torque and rotation into it, puts everything into it. King with that right to the body himself, then just looking to get on top of Chernichuk a bit. I think what he knows, King, is that he's got to go with Chernichuk here in terms of work rate, because Chernichuk is one of those busy kinds of fighters. The last thing you want in a fight is to get out-hustled, to get outworked. There's that right to the body again. He kind of throws a decoy almost with the left hand, dips his knees and then really rips it. He's not feeling them yet, Chernichuk, but there can always come a point in a fight where somebody's soaking it up and then all of a sudden they can't do it anymore. Right into the pit of the stomach there from King, who just looks to try and walk into the centre of the ring. The corner just encouraging King then not to let Chernichuk take some kind of a rest there. And Chernichuk just comes firing back, using that jab. Throws that right hand and then rolls away off the back of it, Chernichuk. There's that left to the body again. And the right hand, that short right hand over the top again there from Chernichuk. And there's a decent right hook from Chernichuk. He's landed a few good quality shots in the last 20-30 seconds, finishing the round strong here. Little step off to the right hand side there from Chernichuk just to change the angle. And these rounds are absolutely crucial, these middle rounds. King has got to stay with Chernichuk. He's got to try and match him for work rate, for effort, or he could be in danger of slipping behind here. Josh Pritchard in the corner was a pro himself, got to 5-0 if memory serves, and then due to injury wasn't able to continue with his pro boxing career. There's that right hand from Chernichuk and then finishes on the left there. He's got this busy style. He doesn't really stay still after he throws anything. He moves off those punches.
Seconds out. Пятый раунд. Round 5.
Referee just telling the pair of them to keep their heads up there. I think it's just one of those things. You look at the styles that the two of them have got, and Chernichuk in particular does tend to kind of stoop over a little bit as he moves in there. His weight can be quite heavily on that front foot, which brings his head over that front foot, so he looks like he's leading with the head a little bit of the time. But that's good movement on the inside there from him. Left hand on the inside there from King, I think got through, but he didn't draw any kind of a reaction from Chernichuk. He just slides underneath that jab again, and King just trying to hold his ground here. That's a good left hand from Chernichuk. Rattled a couple into the body, and then you could see the chin move there as he went upstairs. King just trying to cover that movement off, but catches a right hand as he moves in. An uppercut lands there from Chernichuk as well. He turns around that front foot and then just spins off. He's finding a good groove here, the Russian fighter, a nice rhythm. Left into the body there from King. and continues to go downstairs. Good uppercut from Chernichuk, just thrown off the angle, just slightly in from the right-hand side, found a gap for it. Into the final minute, and again this round has been like the previous one, and when you look at the fight as a whole, we'll be 15 minutes in at the end of this round, and Chernichuk has been the one with the greater volume. They both traded some good shots, particularly body shots, but Chernichuk has been the busier of the two, and that'll see him in front at the halfway stage, I would say. Turns southpaw here, King. There's that right hand to the body, not the one that we've seen him throw most often in the fight so far, but the bodywork is something that they've really invested in. And that uppercut, I think at the time I felt it landed a bit cleaner than it actually did. They've both thrown a lot of punches in this fight. Neither has yet to hurt the other just yet. Quite a lot have been half caught on forearms, on gloves. They've had a sting taken out of them slightly by the fighters, just riding the shot slightly. It's been a good fight to watch.
Seconds out.
Heading into the second half, you get the feeling that this is mostly about stamina and conditioning and the gas tanks, because neither's put a dent in the other yet. That doesn't mean it can't happen, but from where I'm sitting, King needs to make that dent if he's going to win that fight. He needs to slow Chernichuk down a bit by having that kind of impact. Chernichuk, I think, will be totally happy if things continue the way that they have been, because, as I said, I do think he's found a nice rhythm. King has come out aggressive at the start of round 6 here, which I think is a good thing, because the momentum was just starting to turn against him, and when that happens you have to try and do something about it as quickly as you can. Looking for the left hand there, but plenty into that, King. The pace has been high in this fight, and it makes you wonder at what point is it going to tell on one of these two. It could tell on Chernichuk. He's the one who likes to keep busy, to let those hands go. Caught a couple of punches there from King, but he's been made to work hard all the way through this. It's not one of those fights where he's set the pace and everything has been at his pace, because King has had plenty to say. A couple more got through there from King, who stays on that front foot. Goes down to the body there, King. A couple of good stabbing shots. Heading into the final minute of round 6. And my eyes might be deceiving me here, but I just feel like Chernichuk is, for the first time almost, showing some signs of fatigue here. The high tempo and what King has managed to land on him could be starting to have a little bit of an effect here. holds his feet and lets that right hand go. It's not that he isn't throwing still, it's not that he isn't landing, but everything seems to be more of an effort than it has been previously. Good body work there from King again. Closing seconds of round 6. Right hand into the body again there from King, and he's finished the round well here, particularly the last minute and a half. And this was a kind of round I think that he did need, because I felt at least that Chernichuk had built some momentum as we went to halfway and that he was ahead in the fight. But that's a good round for King. He was in the second half of it, not all of a sudden exactly, but Chernichuk just began to look slightly different. Everything started to seem like more of an effort. What had previously been a nice groove and a rhythm became a bit more forced. Nice counter right hand there from King. So 4 rounds to go. I think this is going to be a very, very interesting finish to this fight. From my angle, I feel like Chernichuk could well be ahead here. Maybe 4-2 up. But King had a good round in that previous round. And he's looking to really stay on him here. You can see that. Goes down to the body again there, King. But quickly he looks to cover off that movement. I think he's taken some big encouragement from that previous round. And confidence, momentum, having the wind in your sails at this stage of a fight is so, so important. Chernichuk, I feel like he probably needs to find a little bit of a second wind, and he may well do it. And the corner just telling King that Chernichuk is on the point of unravelling here. I don't think that's necessarily the case, but again, he's getting through to Chernichuk in this round, and it's happening earlier than it did in the previous round. Right hand there from Chernichuk was a decent shot though, but as I said, everything just seems to be more of an effort for him now. But that's not to say that he isn't landing some decent punches. It's at an absolutely critical stage, this fight. King feels he's got an advantage here, that he is in the ascendancy, and he has to make sure that he stays there. Chernichuk rattles away to King's body. Nice long right hand there from Chernichuk. That's good stuff from him. And then a left to the body. That's a good 20-30 seconds he's had there, Maxim Chernichuk. And the 6th was a good round for King. And the first half of this round was going his way too. But the second half of this round has been Chernichuk's. He's put in a good response here. Long right hand there from King, didn't quite land. Goes down there with the left to the body, then the right. Good right hand there from Chernichuk, who then just lost his balance slightly. There goes the bell, 3 to go. Again, not too much to pick in that round. It was kind of around the two halves, really. The first half belonging to King, the second half I felt belonging to Chernichuk. And there have been some close rounds in this fight. So into the 8th, they're scheduled for 10, the IBA.PRO Europe welterweight title on the line. King is the holder. He won it against Vakir Abasov last November in a really, really good performance in Samara. And he's up here against Maxim Chernichuk, who beat him back in February by split decision over 8 rounds. So you can understand why people wanted to see it again, because they are well matched. Right hand got through there from King. Chernichuk was trying to ghost off to his left hand side. A right hand landed there though from Chernichuk. Always just inching forward with that front foot there, King. Chernichuk of the two is more flighty, there's more movement. He's more expansive in that sense, but that can tend to take it out of you. There's quite a lot of lateral movement too. It's a demanding way to fight. And the corner just telling King that he's waiting too long, and I make him right at this stage of the fight. I make the trainer Josh Pritchard right, because King needs to get on top of Chernichuk and stay there. That's when he's had success. It's an easy thing to say because that is physically demanding, obviously, to try and do that to your opponent. But Chernichuk, when you let him, he does find this kind of groove and rhythm where he just lets those hands go. He turns around that front foot. He can sink into that quite comfortably, and he's busy then, and it looks good. And even if not loads is getting through, then he has the look of the man who is on top. Good left hand there from Chernichuk, and then goes down to the body, and King needs a big finish to the round here. Frustrating there for King, just swinging and missing with that right and that left, and he hasn't quite been able to build on that real success that he had in the 6th. And at that stage, with 4 rounds remaining, you felt that maybe he could go on and dominate the remainder of the fight, which I think he has needed to. Still 2 rounds remaining here, of course, but it hasn't quite turned out that way. There's that long right hand from Chernichuk. Alcesta just leaning over the ropes there with some advice as well. Josh Pritchard, nice and measured in what he was saying there. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but you could see from the manner of him that he's just trying to get that advice on board to King. It's difficult for fighters to take it in between rounds, particularly this deep in the fight. This has been a physically demanding fight. The tempo, the pace has been high right from the start. But King needs a big finish here, I think. He certainly needs to win these last 2 rounds. The right uppercut there from Chernichuk. King really just setting his feet and looking to let his hands go here. So the pep talk in the corner I think has worked. No knockdown there. Signaled by the referee. It did look like a loss of balance, caused by a trip or something like that. And he's got to summon up everything he's got here, King. He started quick there, but he's just got to try and keep that pace, that work rate as high as he possibly can. Chernichuk just sinking into the ropes, pulling back and throwing that right hand. And again now just starts to let those hands go. It's impressive the fitness, the conditioning that he's shown in this fight, because it is pretty much constant. The way that he punches, the way that he lets his hands go. And he has found that second wind that I was talking about before. Sometimes it's about grinding your way back in, and that's what he's managed to do after what was a tricky sixth round, a point at which you felt like the momentum may well have shifted. A swing and a miss again there from King. It's been a busy spell for Michael King. This is a fourth fight, a fourth really good level fight in the last 7 months, which is what fighters want, of course, but boxing at the start of last November and then at the end of that month and then in February and then again tonight. Plenty of travelling involved too. It's part of the job, of course. I'm not looking to make excuses for him, but he needs something big here. And Chernichuk, again, is just fighting with a little bit of swagger, a little bit of a spring in his step. And everything seems that little bit easier now than it did a few rounds ago. That looseness, that relaxedness is back. So 10th and final round coming up. And there's that upper body movement that he's had right from the start, Chernichuk, pretty much. And I think that was where the feet maybe just came together, because nothing landed there to cause him to take a trip to the canvas. So 3 minutes to go for both of these two.
Ladies and gentlemen, round 10, final round.
So King, the defending champion, in the white, Chernichuk in the black. It's been a good fight, this. But Chernichuk, for me, has got himself into the lead, and I think King probably needs a stoppage in this final round. Good right hand into the body there from King, as Chernichuk had just thrown his own right hand. And that body work, particularly those right hands down to the body, in around the back of the left elbow of Chernichuk, haven't taken any real toll in this second half of the fight. He's neglected that punch a bit in the second half. King may be feeling that it just wasn't really working. There's that arcing right hand again from Chernichuk. Just sitting down on that right hand there, Chernichuk, looking to put some real gas on it. And again, he just rolls away underneath that right hand. Chernichuk, he's still Just throwing the odd feint, dipping his knees, just dropping his height as he did there exactly, taking his head off the line. That guard is up in place. It's been a really good, disciplined all-round performance. Close in the early stages. I think he built up a lead by halfway. Then that 6th round made it look like this second half could get pretty torrid for him, but he managed to find an answer since then. So into the final minute, looking to let go of the big bomb, and then again just sits in his leg slightly and finds that combination to the body. The King's corner telling him he's just got 30 seconds. He needs to do something pretty spectacular here. And it's certainly not for a lack of trying. King just letting his hands go, but Chernichuk has been slippery all night, and he continues to be just that. Touchy gloves between the two as the final bell goes. Good fight. Good fight, as we thought it would be. It was a good fight in February. It was a good fight tonight, this time over 10 rounds. Nice combination there from King. These two just working really, really hard right to the very end. And there wasn't really any kind of feeling out process in that fight. It was probably at its quietest maybe in that opening round, as is generally the case, but bundles and bundles of punches thrown by the pair of them.
И президент Международной ассоциации бокса IBA. Ladies and gentlemen, the president of the International Boxing Association IBA, Umar Nazarovich Kremlov.
So the belt to be presented as well, of course, that IBA.PRO Europe welterweight title that Michael King brought into the ring. Okay, I think we're ready for the decision.
Это были непростые 10 раундов, и они остались позади. В этом поединке единогласным решением судей одержал победу и стал новым чемпионом Европы по версии IBA.PRO Maxim Chernichuk.
So Chernichuk gets it by unanimous decision. It was well deserved.
The winner by unanimous decision, and
he was a better fighter over the course of the
European
10 rounds. He got himself
IBA.PRO
ahead at halfway, I felt. Then that 6th round that went King's way, that suggested that we were in for a ding-dong in the final 4 rounds, and that maybe King could overhaul him, run him down as they got towards the tape. But Chernichuk managed to dig in, find an answer, find that groove again, worked terrifically hard all night long, and it was a well-deserved victory.
Но мы не забываем поблагодарить аплодисментами его соперника. Ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause for the Michael King for this beautiful fight.
And just watching these highlights, you can see that the fight followed a very similar vein all of the way through. These two completely committed to it and gave us 10 rounds of terrific action. So one fight remaining tonight, another local fighter, Bakador Usmanov up against Albert Pagara of the Philippines. 10 rounds for the WBA Gold lightweight title. Usmanov has been a top-level amateur for a really long time. Boxed at 2 Olympic Games, a World Championship bronze medalist in 2023, a bronze at the Asian Championships in 2022. He's been around an awfully